GearNetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
Hi, this is Jeffrey Weissman. You might know me from all sorts of films and TV shows. Pale Rider, Twilight Zone, Back to the Future 2 and 3, Saved by the Bell. I don't know what you know me from, but know me now from All Bets Are Off with Robbie Vegas.
So TJ, man, thank you so much for being here on the All Bets Are Off podcast. This is actually your second time on the show, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Robbie. This is great.
So the reason we have you back on is because you have a new album coming out, and I believe it's called Now Let It Go, and I was super excited to see that, and of course had to ask you to come back on. So, man, that's super exciting. Can you give me the release date again real quick?
Yeah, thanks again. It's May 21st. It's called Now Let Go, but it's, pretty excited. Been working on it for most of the pandemic and a bunch of other things, but yeah.
Now, you've always been a super creative guy, and you're a great songwriter, and I've thought that for many, many years, and I was super excited to see that you're putting out something, and you said you had like 30 songs, and you just chose 9, is that right?
Yeah, well, actually probably closer to 50
wow.
for this record. It got out of hand in a good way. It was like, you know, when the first when everything sort of shut down, like my brain felt like wide open and clear, and like I could like really work and focus on music and stuff for the first time in a while, and and just kept going and going and going, and then, you know, have way too many songs. But, you know, it's the whole, you write 50 and maybe 5 are great. You know, it's hard. You never can tell when you're writing yourself, of course. But
yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I
so
guess
I've got a whole bunch of tunes.
My question to that would be, how do you narrow them down? Because if you have that many songs, I'm sure there was more than a few that you were like, oh, this could really go on here. So how do you even start that process?
Well, a couple of them kind of worked their way out of the running because it was like, oh, well, I want to have this drummer or this specific kind of band. Like there were some that I wanted to do with Last Conservative, my old band, of course, on the band. So some of them I didn't have the right people. Some of them were like, all right, well, this is a great tune, but this one doesn't fit the sort of vibe. And it's so hard to tell. You know, it's like because you're in the middle of it. You can never tell what's really good. All you can kind of go by is your instinct of what feels cool. So I picked the ones that kind of felt the best and felt the most finished. You know, so that's certainly part of it. Some of them were like, oh, well, this one sounds like done. So that one's making the record. Every once in a while you're like, here's an easy one. Okay, good. I need, you know, one easy one, at least, you know, production wise, like one where you don't have to, you know, grind it into dust or whatever.
Yeah, right.
That sounds horrible. That's the wrong, you know, that doesn't sound fun, but, you know.
I get what you mean, though. I really do. And, you know, I wanted to go track by track because you did send me the track, so I've heard it already. So, yes, listeners, I got a sneak peek, and I love it. It's such a great record, man. And I probably tell you that about every time you release a record, but I really do love this record. And
that means a lot, man.
Oh, of course. You know, I've been a huge supporter of yours since probably since I was in high school.
That's awesome.
So
I love that one cover you did of King of Failure, that old Last Conservative song. That really made me happy to hear.
Oh, thank you, man.
Every once in a while I'll hear someone kind of cover one of our old tunes or one of my tunes, and it always blows my mind.
I have so much fun trying to cover your songs. I really do. And I'll probably have to send you another one because I do a couple others. And every time I have a gig, I throw them into my set because they're just such good songs.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'd love to hear them. That'd be great.
Well, you are only the second person that's been on this podcast that we've done this for, where they release a new record and we go through track by track and talk about the tracks. So this is still kind of a newer thing that I'm doing here, and I'm excited to hear it.
I've never done this. No one's ever asked about all the tracks. So this is exciting, and I'll talk about my songs all day long. Well, someone will let me.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So, because I'm always curious, like when I hear your lyrics and that, I'm always like, I wonder what this song was about. So naturally, when I saw that you were releasing a new record, my mind immediately went there, and we had such success with doing this I think it was about a year ago now. We've only done it that one time, and it really like sparked something in me to hear it from you. So what do you say we get started on that?
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Track 1 is called The House is on Fire. So walk me through writing that song, what that song's about.
Is on fire. You are sitting here watching it burn. You coward, you liar. You are all three liars. You are sitting here watching it burn.
This one was basically about, this one I kind of wrote the fall right before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And I was just having all sorts of personal problems, and I let a lot of things in my life kind of atrophy, and I felt pretty powerless. So that song all kind of came. I was actually driving. I was delivering pizzas at the time, and it was like all right there, you know. So that was yeah. So that one is, you know, about me and feeling stuck, you know, personally, and it also felt like, you know, as a country, there was also a lot of feeling of like the whole country is on fire and we're all kind of just watching it. So there was, you know, and that was, again, right before the pandemic kind of hit. So, yeah, so general, not apathy, but paralyzed and, you know, inaction type of vibe.
Now, when you're picking the tracks that are going to go on here, does that play a factor? Are you listening to your lyrics and kind of saying, I need tracks that, you know, talk about certain issues, or you're trying to split up what the songs are about so that you have a different variety of topics that you're covering in your lyrics? Did that play a factor at all?
Sort of on this one. There's a lot. I guess with all the tunes, I'm sorry to be hemming and hawing, but with all the different tunes, there are some of them that felt more apparent and like needed to kind of happen now, and there were some that felt like they weren't as relevant, like relevant to me, but not necessarily relevant to the world in a kind of a get this out right now type of manner. But this one I was inspired a lot by, do you know the Peter Gabriel record, Us? The one that came out like 91, 92, maybe
yes.
93. Mm-hmm. But the first tune, Come Talk to Me, which is this, it's got this great tribal drum groove, and it's just this song of him just pleading to, you know, just to communicate with someone that he's, you know, has distance with, and it's such a beautiful song. And so for this track, you know, it's the first one on the record. I wanted to lead off with something that was strong and propulsive, you know, and you know, moved, felt like it was earth moving type of thing. So,
you know, when I listened to them in order when you sent them to me. So right after this track, I was already super excited to get into the rest of the album. So I think you succeeded there.
Good. It's tricky. That lead off track it's important, especially that first, you know, like. I mean, really nowadays, that the first, I don't know, 7.5 seconds or whatever it takes before people click to the next thing if you don't catch them right away. But I'm glad to hear, because I struggled a lot with track listing, you know.
You know, that's probably really true, and I never really considered that. As in 2022, the attention spans are so gone. And before it was, you know, pick up your CD at the merch stand and pop it in the car, and you would listen to the whole thing. And now it's kind of like, well, I can pick and choose what tracks I want to download, so I don't really give a shit, you know?
Sure. And funny enough, this is my longest. The songs are the longest songs I've had on my records. On average, like, you know, a bunch of the songs are 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. You know, which normally I'm like, you know, get me 2:45 and get me in and out of the, you know, get me to that first chorus and get me out of it quick and kick him in the teeth on the way out. You know, that's always been that thing. But, yeah, so somehow I ended up writing longer tunes and on a lot of them, you know.
Yeah. That's awesome. So let's jump into track 2 here, which is called The Ghost.
Chased by the ghost, it kept me believing that everything I think hands on my back, and he claws at my heels, dying to remain intact, living up to some ideal. You're gonna have to make up your mind. Take what you love and put it into action.
Yeah, this is the sort of the mental health struggle showcase of the album that, you know, every album probably for the next 5 years at least will probably have, right? I mean, I feel like we're all kind of,
Oh yeah.
you know, lots going on emotionally and stuff. So, yeah, that was me kind of feeling like there's this constant ghost in your head of, you know, negativity or that voice that tells you you're not good enough and all that imposter syndrome stuff that we all, it's funny enough, like no matter how great you are or how non-great you feel, we all have that similar kind of feelings of worries of inadequacy and all that stuff. So that song is about that for sure. And yeah, that was a tough one. It's a great song. But there's a couple lines in the shit. I chased down the ghost. He wanted reason after reason. He wants to find a middle ground where the torture feels more pleasing. And I really like that line. That line still kind of makes me cry a little bit when I sing it.
You know, I was just going to ask you if when you go back and sing these songs, whether they're live or in a studio, if you feel those old feelings from when you wrote them. Like, does that still happen to you even from your Last Conservative days when you play any of those songs?
Oh, yeah. More so now even, I think. Because, you know, with the years of distance, like you kind of are constantly processing your songs and they shift over time, you know, like on to the next one. I'd heard one interpretation, the great Buffalo singer Lance Diamond, and it's a song about a girl, you know, in a relationship and that type of thing. But he had heard it as a song about Columbine, and that like floored me because then I was like, oh shit, that's incredible, you know, just a different interpretation of it. So there's those type of things and certain things, you know, like you start playing the song and I'm right back there. I'm 23, I'm 17, I'm 30, and it's, you know, I don't know. That's the only way that I know how to do it.
Yeah.
I gotta bleed a little bit every time.
It comes through though. So whether you're listening to one of your records or you're at a live performance, you can see the emotion in you when you're there, and you can hear it when you're, you know, listening to, like, for instance, I was listening to these songs in my car, and I can hear in your voice that it matters, that the things that you're saying matter. And I think that's one of the things that always connected me personally to your music, and I would assume that other fans would feel the same way.
I mean, I appreciate that. That means a lot. And all the music that I've always loved has been that same type of stuff, where it's the people just digging deep and finding whatever emotional trench they can dig in. And then, you know, by doing that, you kind of you help bring light to the situation, and that in some ways helps. Yeah. You know, it's it feels good to cry. It feels good to, like, dig and go deep. So
I agree. I think that's one of the reasons why I got into the Counting Crows. You know, and, and fell in love with them. You know, that same concept of just like, wow, that he feels that.
The love Counting Crows.
That's right. I remember we talked about that last time.
Yeah. Oh no, it's all good. Yeah, that's that August and everything after, and actually more so Recovering the Satellites. That record. Oh yeah, is my favorite record of theirs, and that one was just awesome.
I can't pick a favorite. I really can't. Between those two records, they're so. You know, you hear some albums that you're like, man, that's damn near a perfect album, and I feel that way about both of those.
Yeah, really. I love the energy of that second one. Although I sometimes I skip Monkey. I don't know why that one kind of bugs me a little bit. I still love it. It's still like an amazing tune. But like maybe because there's like, was there 14 songs on Recovering, whereas August has like I think 11.
Right.
So August does feel a little more, you know, perfect, and just, you know, there's no songs on that record that I ever consider skipping. So.
I'm with you. I do agree with both of those statements, but we're talking about your record right now, so let's move on to track 3, I Want It Now.
Wolf meet sheep, hey, it's nice to meet you. I got the plan if you want a teacher. Blow out the fuse and then blow out the speakers. It's gonna be a long night. A bank job down in Alabama. You get the shotgun and I get the hammer. Inside man. Straight, we'll get it done right. I'm going backwards.
This is one of my favorites. So like every time when I write a piece of music that has like a tough kind of menacing vibe, you know, like sometimes when I'm kind of freestyling lyrics, I'll like get a melody and I'll just start singing whatever. And sometimes when I'm singing about some mean guy, some like, you know, some biker dude or some angry assassin, whatever, just singing like, I'm gonna punch you in the face, whatever the hell, you know, you just sing. and I started doing that on this song, and then normally I'll then shift the lyrics to some other thing. And then this one I'm like, well, what if I just wrote this song? Because it was basically like I kept hearing lyrics and it was like, this is a song about a dude robbing a bank, I think. Excuse me. And then so the song is about a guy getting a crew together and robbing a bank, and then gets busted before he makes it out to Mexico. And it's, you know, it's just like a kind of a ride of a tune. The vocal I did in one take. It was the scratch vocal. It was the first time I ever sang it. Oh wow! And somehow I got an energy on it that was incredible. And you know, it's a really aggressive tune. I like it a lot.
I do too. It's so much fun, and that's really cool. So when you're in the studio, I gotta ask. So you got the headphones on and you're behind the glass. Are you one of those guys that can still pull like a live feeling? Because that's something that I know, myself included, people struggle with because you don't have that crowd energy, you know. But sure. Just you saying that you killed that one in one take is mind blowing to me. I don't know if I've heard of many people being able to do that and use the scratch vocal track.
Yeah, I think there's actually a couple tunes on this record I did that. Well, I did this whole record on my own in my house in my basement.
Wow.
And most of the vocals I literally sang into my iPad, not even with a microphone, but with the mic on the iPad. Like I basically was just dead set on like, I had all this time, obviously with the shutdown. I'm like, I got all these tunes and I'm just going to make this damn thing on my own. It's like I could figure it out along the way. And I learned how to really use the iPad mic. So that vocal is done in my bathroom, just straight into my iPad.
Come on. Oh my God.
So, a bunch of the tunes were done like that. So, which for me was great because I could, if I'm just alone, like I can kind of go crazy. I could sort of really, on this song especially, get into character type of thing. So for this record, it was easier to get that higher energy live vibe, and but I definitely know what you mean about the studio being tricky to get that energy because that's what everyone's like. Oh, they sound great live, but the studio, that whole thing. But yeah, so it was fun making it on my own because I didn't feel as much of those pressures, especially with the clock. When you're paying however much an hour in a studio.
Yeah. So the guy behind the board staring at you, hoping that you get it in the next take.
Yeah, So it's like, well, if I wanted to shriek and it's 4 a.m, I'll just fucking shriek. If that's what the vocal demands, then that's what I'll do. And then if that sounds like shit, that sounds like shit. But yeah, so I got to really kind of explore. It felt very free working on this record.
So did you do all the mixing and mastering yourself too?
No, that's I did all the music, and then I sent it to Jamie Candeloro, who did the last Ragbirds record, who's an amazing producer. He's worked with R.E.M., Willie Nelson, Ryan Adams, a bunch of people. He's a fantastic musician. But so basically I sent him the stuff, and he was like, this sounds great. And he's a great drummer. He's a really, really tasty drummer. So he played all the drums. Mm-hmm. I mean, I sent him stuff with, rough drums of what I wanted. So he did the mixing and and we mastered it at Sterling Audio, which I think they're in New Jersey or something. But they're incredible. They do they did like Adele's last record or whatever. They do like all the huge projects. So through him, I was finally able to really get a record mastered well. Wow. And I'd had all my records mastered, and it was always like, oh yeah, it sounds better. It sounds louder. It sounds this or that. But this time I was like, holy shit, it sounds like more musical somehow. It sounds like thicker and everything melds together. So yeah, Jamie did a great job on the mixing and the mastering that we did. It was awesome.
Wow, that's awesome. No,
but yeah, I did all the guitars, all the bass, all the vocals, all the, most of the keys. I think he did keyboards on one thing. I did all the percussion, wow, made a whole racket.
That is incredible, and you did it all at home with your iPad.
Yep.
Wow.
It was pretty awesome.
Just blew my mind just now.
And it's great. I did the record for very, very cheap. Pretty much just the mastering and mixing charges and whatnot. So.
Well, that brings me to track 4, which is called The Engine.
Ease up on the throttle before.
The engine, yeah. I wrote this one last year during the, maybe it was 2 years ago. Yeah, shit, it was 2020. The summer without the protests and everything was just so crazy. And I just felt like everyone was at this point where everyone was just pushing so hard and things had gotten so divided and so ugly. And I was just so sick of seeing people unhappy. Like, it was, everywhere you looked, it was just angry, unhappy people for, you know, a variety of causes, a lot of times good, a lot of times bad. And so, yeah, that song was just became sort of a mantra type of thing for me of like, all right, I got to slow down my own life. I got to slow down my own heartbeat because, you know, to try to survive this shit. This shit's getting crazy. So that's the pretty serene, blissful kind of tune. I'd always felt that on every record I made, I always tried to make like a song like that. That was like this like warm blanket of a song. And this was the first one that I think I got that as close as I've gotten it so far, at least.
Yeah, right. And, you know, you said it was 2 years ago now, and that was still kind of early on with all the stuff that we're all dealing with, and like you said, with the protesting and all that. And it's funny, too, to hear you say, you know, you kind of hesitated to remember when you wrote it because the last however many years blended into one thing, 1 year, one moment, you know? And,
yeah, really.
You know, to you know, have one of your songs to take you back to exactly when one of those actual moments was is pretty heavy.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey everybody, this is Lauren Marie Taylor, creator and host of the Not the Final Girl podcast. Okay, so every horror fan remembers the final girl, right? You know, the one who can outrun and outsmart the Jasons, the Michaels, the Chuckies. I think you get it. But what about the girls and, yeah, the guys who met with an untimely end? Those of us who were tortured and tripped, dragged and killed. Don't we deserve some props? As Vicky in Friday the 13th Part 2 and Sheila in Girls Night Out, I know what a drag it is to succumb to those masked and wardrobe-challenged killers, to not be the final girl. On my new podcast, I'll be chatting with other women of horror who share the same fate. Special guests include those final girls as well as the writers and directors who created our characters, only to give us an early expiration date. And if they play nice, we'll let some of those crazed killers of horror tell their side of the story. So join me, Lauren Marie Taylor, on the Not the Final Girl podcast. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you get the alerts when the episodes drop. Thanks for listening. Keep your doors locked and stay out of the woods.
Our next partner has a product I use literally every day. I started taking AG1 because I wanted better gut health, more energy, and an optimized immune system. I was also struggling to take in all of the calories and nutrients that I needed in a day with all of the training that I do for professional wrestling. But I'll tell you what, you want to know what this stuff is? With one scoop of athletic greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. So why do I personally consume it? It's easy for me to take care of my body with a scoop of athletic greens. It benefits the lifestyle that I live, being in the gym all the time, being on the road, being at shows. It helps me feel better, and it helps me mentally feel like I'm doing my part in taking care of my health. I bring it with me everywhere I go, just throw it in my bag and take it on the road. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, and contains less than 1 gram of sugar. No GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything while still tasting good. It helps you sleep better, helps your recovery, mental clarity, and alertness. Athletic Greens uses the best of the best. And the price? It costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. It's cheaper than getting all the different supplements yourself. You're investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews and is recommended by professional athletes. For every purchase, AG1 donates to organizations helping to get nutritious food to kids in need, including No Kid Hungry here in the U.S. In 2020, AG donated over 1.2 million meals to kids. So right now it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/emerging. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/EMERGING to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. So that brings me to track 5. It's called Say Something.
With your cold indifferent ways, you're working every angle now in so disarray. This is no ordinary circumstance. This is rubber meeting road. No back doors, second chances. And I think
This
you know,
one is just about not being a good communicator. And there's some political stuff too. It's, there's a little bit of a political vibe on this one, a little bit, but whatever. That's for whoever. I don't care. But for me, at least, the song is just about being unable to communicate because your ego is in the way. My mom really likes this one, so that's nice. Yeah. So does my wife. My wife really likes this song too. So.
Yeah. Oh, so the women in your life like the one about communication.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
or at least the one where I point out how shitty I am at communicating, because it's like, no, but that's good. Like, I don't mind taking myself to task with my songs, like I'll hit myself when I need. Yeah,
that's not something that I feel like you've ever shied away from, because just like I said, going back through your other records that I've listened to, I feel like there's always some self-reflecting going on in there. Am I right on that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. That was when I started making music. That was it. And I was like, I just need to figure out what's going on in my head and why it hurts.
Right. And now I know we mentioned this when you were here last time, but let's just bring it up one more time. How old were you again when you started writing music?
Well, the first cassette I put out I was 17. It was 1997 was the Conservatives cassette. There was a 4-song cassette. But I'd started in probably 95, probably at 15. But even as a kid, like I would be 7 and sitting on the window of the bus and like humming a little song to myself or whatever, so it was kind of, writing songs was always there. And my family, we would sing songs and silly songs and kind of make up stuff. And so, we're always pretty musical and kind of creative growing up.
So before I jump into the next track, I guess, I just want to point out, you said you made your first cassette in 1997, so you've been at this for a very long time, and you've been really consistent. And I gotta ask, like, what do you give credit to for that longevity and that passion still being alive in you after so long?
That's a good question, because like any creative kind of career, there's always moments of there's highs and lows and stuff, and a lot of that was the work ethic my parents kind of instilled in me growing up. A lot of that is just willfulness of like, nope, I'm doing it, and I'm still going to do it, and you can't stop me. And there's also an element of like, all right, well, now I actually have some skills in regards to this thing. Mm-hmm. And then some of the other job skills kind of disappear a little bit. So you're like, okay, well, I also have to do this too. So, there's some elements of that. But I just love playing music. I love writing music. I love playing live. I love recording. I love hearing a song that makes me hate everything I've ever written. It's like it's all like I love a song that makes me joyful and ecstatic about life. I mean, it's everything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm just thinking in my head, like 1997. I was 10 years old, and you were already putting out music, and it just, I don't know, that question just kind of hit me, like, how the hell do you keep that fire burning? But yeah, it makes sense. It makes absolute sense. But to jump back into the record, we're at track 6 right now, which is called Balancing the Chemicals.
I couldn't sleep, so I wired myself to the city lights. Now I'm 4 drinks deep, with the chasm widening every night. I've been speeding down highways, sleeping in driveways, and I can't recall much of the scene. I had neither the ways or the means.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. I love the end of this song. I love the drums that Jamie Candeloro played on it. I love the production of it. This is certainly... Yeah, I don't know what to say about this too. It's basically a song about, just the constant battle of like, I feel bad. I'm gonna drink some caffeine, or now I feel good. I need to take something to put me to sleep, or I'm up, I'm down, And this is a song that title I've been trying to write for, I don't know, 14 years. This is like the 7th version of a song that I've written with balancing the chemicals in there. But this one is basically just about, just kind of trying to balance like the emotional and the literal chemicals of like, I gotta get through the day.
Yeah, right. Well, so the next one is called Waiting Out Your Hurricane, and I really, really enjoyed this one, so I'm curious to hear where this one came from.
Marching orders from some new starlets, and it's going viral as we speak. Battle lines for the new offensive. Grab your
Thanks. This was my attempt at a Pearl Jam, versus era.
Mm-hmm.
Tune. It was totally... I guess it's not too dissimilar from Stable Love and Trust, I guess, at least in some of the guitar parts. This tune is about people that think they're right, that are just so damn sure that they're right all the time. And, in the chorus I say, hey, you think you're the hammer, but maybe you're the nail. There's a lot of people that have, made some choices and made some decisions, and they're sticking to it, which is funny because I just said I'm sticking to playing music regardless of whatever, evidence or encouragement against it or towards, but there's a lot of people that just get stuck in their ways, and we got to get people to be more open overall, I think, in general.
Yeah.
So
I can absolutely hear the Pearl Jam influence.
Yeah, right. And that's such a that record, bro. That's, oh my goodness, that record is so good. Good.
Yeah.
I really love records when the people are fighting with their fame, like the same with the Second Counting Crows record, Recovering the Satellites, where they're like, where Eddie Vedder, Verse is just like, I'm famous now, and it's crazy, and that energy is something about that. I love those records, and I love a good divorce record. A good divorce record is always great energy,
You know what? Yeah, you're right. And, and being a big Pearl Jam fan myself, maybe that's why I really did, jump on that tune, because now that you say it, it's right in there. And, I love it. And I think I might have listened to that one the most out of the 9 tracks, actually.
Thanks. I love the bass sound on that. It's just this like hulking, it's so loud. And I played on, I've got this, what is it? It's an Austin. I played all the bass myself, and the bass, I guess you could say it's sort of in tune with itself, but I liked working with that limitation, and especially on that tune, like the bass, that was just so much fun to play.
That's awesome. All right, so the next track is called The Seams. Walk us through that one.
The seams, so often it's become routine. The less I say.
This one, I guess, is also just about kind of mental health. Not to just sort of catch all. I didn't even realize like how much of the record was about my own mental health. Not that I should be surprised, because that's what most of my records have been about in some form. But this one, it was just, just feeling like you're just coming apart at the seams type of thing. And trying to, this was very much a pandemic song. This one very much felt like, of that vibe and that time. And yeah, that was a hard one to finish for some reason. Again, it's like the pretty songs, like they're tricky.
It's funny to hear you say it was a hard one to finish, because with all the songs that you had written, it still made the cut. It's still on the record, so hard song to finish, but obviously worth it if it made it.
Yeah, and to be fair, that one was probably the run to the litter. If I had to pick one that... I know you're not supposed to say that, but...
Yeah, you don't pick a favorite child,
I could pick out which ones were, And it's still a really pretty song, and I still stand by it, and I still like it, But Yeah, again, and that's another one. I love the drums on that song are immaculate. Jamie just fell into this really, really nice, like, just pocket where it's floating on this, like, drum cloud of air. And it's just, it's a cool tune.
Now, when you're ending the record with track 9, which is called The Ride, one, tell us about it, but also how did you decide that would be the final track to this?
It took me a while to figure out the lyrics. Like I wrote this piece of music that felt like heavy and there's a little bit of a Portishead kind of vibe to it. It's certainly a little more electronic feeling and a little bit darker and kind of gloomier. And I love the music, and I couldn't figure out what the vocals were, and I did a bunch of different versions. And then I sent it to Mike Zeiss, one of my best friends, played bass with Last Conservative for a long time, and actually is going to be playing guitar. We're doing I'm coming in July to promote the record. I think it's July 7th. It's that Friday. And but yeah, so then it's July 8th at Jack Rabbit's in Buffalo.
Oh, okay.
Promoting the record, which is going to be awesome.
Excellent.
So I sent it to Mike, and I was like, what's this song about? And he's like, dude, it's about death. And I was like, oh shit, okay. Wow. And then it all fell into place. And there was a show on Apple TV called Dickinson, about Emily Dickinson, and in it she meets up with Wiz Khalifa, who's a great job. He plays like the Grim Reaper, and he's in this carriage, and he's this like heavy, ominous death figure, of course, and she has all these encounters with him and talks to him, and it's this like dark, romantic, poetic, pretty cool vibe. So it's sort of like that. It's sort of kind of talking to the Grim Reaper, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
And he's like, come on, let's go. And it's like, I'm not ready yet.
You know what, though? I love songs like that, and I really do jump on board with stuff like that. I don't know why. It's just always been, maybe it's just my love for horror movies. I don't know. But there's always...
Yeah, me too. I liked the moodier stuff, I mean...
Yep.
And not, I didn't get super, like, I never got, like, like Bauhaus, goth kind of moody, but, like Cure moody. Yeah. Or The Verve moody, like Bittersweet Symphony is like, one of the greatest songs of all time.
Oh, I agree.
It's just like this whole ride through like your soul, just dragging you right through the mud of it. It's so great.
Yeah. Now,
I always like the darker shit.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess I was just born that way because I don't ever remember a time when I didn't like the darker stuff.
I don't know. It feels big, like emotionally. So that one will probably work its way to the forefront, I would guess.
Yeah. So I want to move into something a little differently here. So we were talking earlier about how you had about 50 songs and only 9 of them made the record, which, by the way, again, is called Now Let Go. I think I said Let It Go earlier. I apologize.
That's not good.
But it's called Now Let Go, which I love the title. And, of course, I'll be sharing the cover of it and all that when this gets released. But now, you were telling me that you're also coming out with a record later in the year with some friends. Now... Are some of the songs that you set aside that didn't make this cut, they're going on that record, correct?
No, that's a whole different set of tunes.
Oh, wow, you're kidding.
We wrote about probably 14 songs, I think, and we've got about 10 that are going to make the cut.
Wow.
The working title of the band is Starts With a Con, and that's after one of the lyrics. It's with my good friends Brian Maish and Nick Snydecki, who I've known for years. And this is, we all had time during the pandemic, and Nick plays drums, and Brian plays bass, and we had always played the game Rock Band. We had a lot of fun with it, and then we were like, we could probably just do some recording, and let's throw some stuff back and forth and have some fun with it. And then all of a sudden, we started writing these tunes that got really good, especially when you're working with people who it's their first time kind of writing. Mm-hmm. You can kind of write from a different place when you're not bound by what you've done before or what your training or schooling or whatever. So it has a totally different vibe on that record, and it's been great. there's some songs on that, there's times where I'm like, shit, I think I like that record more than I like this record. But, and that's just the nature of stuff. And, it being a more collaborative thing, like a song would start with, I'd throw in a tune and they'd write parts for it, or Brian would throw, a bass riff, and then, I would arrange it into something, and we would, record and stuff. Or Nick would write a drum groove, and we'd build on that. But it was all done, digitally. We've all done it in GarageBand. Oh yeah, the record I made it on GarageBand, the whole thing. Really? Yeah. I wanted to keep it. I'm like, I know there's better things, and there's more expensive things, and there's fancier things, and I'm like, I just wanted to work. I just wanted to make it,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever I had in my basement room here was all that I needed. So.
Wow. Like, I'm kind of mind blown right now and almost speechless that you had 50 songs, chose 9, and then wrote a whole nother record, not even using any of those songs.
Yeah. Well, I had a long time where I didn't write. I had about close to a decade that was relatively dry between the last Conservative records in like 2007, and then Hold On With All Your Might, which came out in 2016, maybe 2017. But then, yeah, especially like once the pandemic, when everything shut down, like I really felt clear in my mind. Like it felt like all the hustle and bustle, all this chaos was like limited, so I could kind of hear stuff clearer. Mm-hmm. And then once I got the momentum going, it just kept going and going and going. And yeah, and I mean, and I had a bunch of other tunes with a band that I was in before this too that we were working on. So I at the start of the pandemic, I had 3 different sets of music that I had been working on, and then it kept going and going, and now I've got I don't know, maybe 80 tunes or something. Now, couple years.
Are we going to see, more releases from you with some of those tunes as well? Are you going to just kind of put out 9 now, do the other project with, you said it may be called Starts With a Con, and then are we going to see some more releases from those other unused songs, or are you not sure?
Yeah, I think the smart move, and this is, I sort of knew this, but it still feels good to make a full record, but I'll probably start just popping, tunes out a couple at a time. Mm-hmm. Because it just takes so long to do a full thing, and the whole attention span deal, like we were talking earlier, it's just better to hit people as often as you can. Right. So and I just got to start just putting shit out. So it takes way too long.
It really does. Now, what about this? The Starts With a Con. When can we expect to see? Now, you did send me the rough mixes for those too, and it's fucking awesome. Now,
yeah, you dig it?
Yeah, I really do. It's different. It's not like the album that we were just discussing. It's a different feel. And
yeah, totally.
And I like that. I like that it's just not TJ Zindle with a band. It's what I mean. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, totally. It was working with those guys has been super collaborative, and just again working with our limitations and yeah, it's been awesome. So those guys are great. So it's cool.
We played clips of the other 9 tracks from the Now Let Go record, and I want to ask you: is it okay if we play one of the rough mixes for the Starts With a Con, or is that going to be kept under your hat until later?
Yeah, you could play the rough mix. I suppose. Which one were you thinking?
Well, that was my next question to you. Whatever one you'd like people to get a glimpse of right now. We don't want to steal the shine from Now Let Go, but just a little taste.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I guess you can hit them hard with Fair Street.
Okay.
Or we could go with, maybe we'll go with, there's one that we wrote right at the end that's, oh shoot, what is it called? It's a really pretty one. It's a piano song.
It's one of the last tracks?
It's well, the working title is Song Won't Save You, but it's, I don't know. Right now, I guess the working title is Far Away From Me. That pretty one. I would say those two.
Okay.
Feel like would be interesting if you want to play two of them.
Absolutely. We will do that right now.
He was a tough son of a gun. Oh, my sweet Carolina, tell you I'm the only one. He don't need comfort from no one. Oh, my sweet Carolina, you tell them all what I've done. You get what you get when you mess with me. Looking on the railroad to 16. 16. He was a tough so pieced to want to fit. Still you make the best of it. Don't know the reason.
So I gotta say, it's gotta be a little bit tough for you right now because you're promoting Now Let Go, and you said you're gonna be in Buffalo promoting that in July, but you also have, the other songs coming out with, the full band. How do you juggle when it's time to switch from one to the other? Because you want to give your fair due to Now Let Go, right?
Yeah, for sure. That other record will be coming out, probably near the end of the year, late fall, I would think. Or maybe even late summer, depending on how quick we mix it. But it's recorded, it's all finished. I guess we got to do one or two minor things, but it's mostly done. But yeah, just luckily they worked out in a way where the one was finished sooner, so I didn't have to really make that decision too much. Mm-hmm. But I knew I wanted to put Now Let Go out first, just because it's got my name on it, and I hadn't put out a record in in a few years now. So it felt like I should probably lead with that as like a hi.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
thing. Hopefully. We'll see if anyone remembers me.
I'm sure they will. And are we going to see anything in the future from Last Conservative again, do you think?
You
probably get asked that from time to time, so I'm probably not the first one to throw that at you.
Sometimes we do. I love those guys. I love playing with those guys. Every year we do a show in December in Buffalo, like a big reunion show. At least we've done it the last, 8 bunch of years. We didn't get to do it last year because we had a couple other, trying to get on the same page was really tough during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. I've got a couple songs that I want to record with those guys. So maybe, there's really no reason why we couldn't just put another, couple tunes out with that name. You could put stuff out now in whatever name you want. So it's, it's just a matter of how you type it into your, keyboard. So yeah, and I still struggle with names of titles and what I should call myself, or because I've got a band, TJ Zindle and the Power Lines, which is pretty much my live band with JB, John Brown is an amazing drummer, and Shannon Wade is an amazing bass player. Shannon also plays with me in Aaron Zindle and the Ragbirds, the band that I play guitar for and sing. It's my sister's band, and that's a whole another project that I got going. So yeah, I'm much busier than I realized with projects. So that's fun. It's it's just I've never put out 2 records in a year, so I'm really excited about that concept, keeping that momentum going. So
that's kind of what I was going to say. Is you got 2 records coming out just this year, and fairly close together because we're in May here, and you're talking end of summer, early fall for the other one. And, by the time people hear this, your album is dropping in 6 days, so hopefully they'll go out and download it after they listen to this episode. But, you said that your creative juices were just flowing when everything shut down, and is that still happening, even though you just basically finished 2 records? Are you still writing, or are you just riding out the songs that you have right now?
I'm still writing.
Wow.
Sometimes maddeningly so, where it's like, this is probably the most prolific I've been, even more so than when I was in my teens and 20s. Mm-hmm. Like the other week, it was Brian, the bass player from Starts With a Con. It was his birthday, so I wrote him a birthday song, and then I wrote like 5 more birthday songs that were all just like silly and weird and like fully, it just became this thing where I was just writing birthday songs. Then I wrote like a sad Russian birthday song, or I wrote like, and just stupid, running jokes and things that we, say to each other and shit. And so yeah, like I'm writing, it's good. It feels good because, like I said, there was a while where I was like, oh well, that's done. I guess I'll never write a good song again.
That's interesting to hear too, because, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like when you're younger, like late teens, early 20s, your songwriting ability almost seems to come so naturally and easily, and then you hit a period where you really have to think about what you're writing and what you're doing musically and lyrically, and you almost, at least that's how I felt, so I can't really speak for you, but I almost felt like I lost it.
And I think a lot of that is because when you're young, you don't have that filter, you don't have the sense to like edit yourself as much. It's just like, look out world, here I come, you're just kicking the door down type of thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of my favorite artists, Mike Zeiss and I talk about this sometimes, a lot of our favorite artists make their best work, a lot of times in their 20s. Mm-hmm. And there's something about that where there's a little more freedom there. Yeah. And especially once you make a couple records, then there's that, oh, well, how are you not just repeating yourself over and over again? That's something that every artist struggles with, right? You know?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Well, listen, man, this has been so much fun, and I'm glad we did this. And I'm super excited for everybody to get in touch with me and let me know what they thought of all the clips and stuff that we played, and of course pointing them to your social media if you want to tell everybody where they can reach you. Yeah,
you can find me. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Apple Music, all the normal spots. I'm going to have an Instagram set up before too long. I haven't been doing so great at that, but it's coming. So, but all those places you could find music, I'm there, and I really appreciate you having me. And this is you're the first person exclusively to get these tracks and to, be able to play some of them. So that's pretty
awesome.
Fun. Exclusive sneak peek.
That's right.
I've never given that out before.
Well, I'm definitely honored, and like I said, I hope everybody enjoyed them, and that they're now waiting over the next few days to get the full release. Yeah, May 21st it comes out. All the places you'd find music, and this has been awesome. I really appreciate you having me. Of course, and when the next record comes out, we'll do it again.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Robbie. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right, listeners, one more time before I let you go. That's TJ Zindle, and the album is called Now Let Go. And you just got like you heard him say, an exclusive sneak peek. Nobody else got it, but you got it here. And we are definitely honored to do so. And we hope that you love those tracks. And go and download the entire album. It comes out in just a few days from today. If you're listening to it on the day that it dropped, that's going to be 6 days from now. So the 21st, Now Let Go, TJ Zindle, everywhere you can download music. And then be on the lookout for Starts With a Con later this year. So we will see you guys next time on the All Bets Are Off podcast.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.